So we have some injury updates. The Eagles doing a walkthrough yesterday, and then today I think was just a regularly scheduled practice, I believe. Sirianni's more involved than we initially thought. The guy's walking contradiction. That being said, we're just going to fly into it. First and foremost, Sirianni's been overriding plays time to time, and the whole narrative just keeps switching. First, it was supposed to be Kellen Moore's complete offense. Nick just managed the game, situationally, and now, it went from that to him overriding, first, second call plays, whether to run and to throw, things of that nature, based on numerous reports. He says that Kellen's driving the car, that he just, gives advice and things of that nature. It looks a heck of a lot more than that. The 4th and 1 fake brotherly shove or whatever, that was on him. The not taking field goals was completely on him. Just not taking 3 points. That's on Nick Sirianni. In my opinion, it looks to be 60 to 70% new and 30-40% Sirianni with pre-snap motion. The formations and all that's pretty much still the same. Just pre-snap motion, it's not going to work. With the new stuff, Jalen looks sharper and whatnot throwing wise, but then it looks like it gets held back, and Nick starts calling that his garbage that he usually does. A tiny bit of justice, still not good enough for however, but the NFL fined defensive tackle Christian Boyd $4,600 for the illegal hit on Devontae Smith, which is basically admitting that they missed the call. And somebody else for the same thing got suspended a game. So, it just goes to show, dang, AJ and Lane Johnson were both practicing, as well as Mekhi Becton. He said he's wearing a cast over his hands that should protect the torn ligament, so he should be fine. Worst case scenario, just tape, 2 of the fingers together and call that good. AJ, he was looking good. He was stretching. He was jogging a little bit. Lane Johnson, it appeared that he returned to practice. Still looks like we're going to be without Smitty, but it looks like, AJ is coming back is what it looks like, which tells me, in my opinion, I haven't seen any official reports, but in my opinion, it's what it's telling me, that the backups clearly ain't enough. Clearly. You know what I'm saying? But, if he's 100% or however, or 90-something percent, just, play it safe or however the case, just only if we need him to make a big play, then bring him out. But, like I said, Nick Sirianni's holding them back. The more he tries to save his job and force those moments where he's like, I'm a good coach, you see? I dialed that up. The more it backfires. He's not a good coach. He got lucky, in 2022 or however the case may be, good quarterback and all that, or however the case. But now, that it's time to improve and all that, just let Kellen Moore completely take over. If it fails, or however, then fire both of them. But Nick Sirianni clearly isn't the answer. But yeah, I still think that at least Nick Sirianni has to go. I had it posted last video that Britton Covey had a broken bone in his shoulder. He should be out for 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. I know they just recently placed him on injured reserve. Prayers up to him. I hope he gets well soon and gets back on the field. So I know we signed John Ross to the practice squad, Jack Stoll to the active roster. So far, like I said, Smitty looks like he's going to miss the game or however versus the Buccaneers, unfortunately. Lane Johnson was stretching, things of that nature. Becton is practicing. Goddard and Saquon are on fire. I know, we also are getting AJ back to practice. I'm not to say he's guaranteed going to play, but, him practicing again, things of that nature might be a game time decision. But even then, Goddard and Saquon are on fire. I know Hurts is struggling with the incompletions. I'm keeping my some energy. He has to clean up the interceptions and turnovers and things of that nature. But he is top 5 in yards. He is 70% completion throughout 3 games. And after the most recent game versus the Saints, I guess Jeff Lurie and Jalen had a super long talk in the locker room. He should talk to Sirafrod. That's what he should do instead of costing Kell, a perfectly good coordinator, another job. And with that game-winning drive versus the Saints, that would be his 10th game-winning drive, surpassing Nick Foles' 9. And if everyone's saying, I mean, I don't know for sure. I mean, it's not like concrete set in stone, but everyone is saying, and I personally believe it, that Jalen Hurts called that a 60-something yard passer, however, to Dallas Goedert. Obviously he's getting better at audibling, or however you'd say it, like you know what I'm trying to say, but it looks like he's getting better at that. If he is, and he can continuously show it, I mean, just don't do any of Sirianni's plays, just do all of Kellen Moore's plays. No, he probably won't watch this, but still, you never know. And it does look like Kellen Moore is good is getting Jalen better at staying in the pocket and spreading the ball out more. Obviously, with the main stars out, he kind of had to win the game, and he's a winning guy. So obviously, do what you got to do to win. But regardless of anything, he did look better spreading the ball out, diversifying the targets and things of that nature. Like I said, he just needs to take better care of the ball. No interceptions and no fumbles versus the Buccaneers. Next thing I'd like to touch on is we got to see a very similar defensive performance versus the Buccaneers. Obviously, I know one of their main offensive linemen are out, so I know they'll have a pretty battered offensive line as well. No reason why we shouldn't, but just build consistency, things of that nature. And again, he has to be better versus Jalen Hurts has to be better versus the Bucs. The last he's 1-3 versus the Bucs, I believe, but I strongly believe that this can be one of the games he can turn it around, and no interceptions, things of that nature. But yeah, like I said, it looks like we're getting AJ back for the Bucs. But in terms of the Saints, I'd say offensively, Goddard and Saquon, you can kind of take your pick. Goddard, he was pretty much everywhere. He had a really diverse route tree and things of that nature. He was just getting open, 10 receptions, 170 yards. Best career game for him. Super happy for him, especially as a fan. But yeah, in my opinion, just definitely got to see more of that and things of that nature. So, and then Saquon obviously is on fire, running the ball, looks perfectly healthy, no limping, no nothing. I mean, as far as I could tell, he looks fine. Defensively, I mean, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Reed Blankenship. I mean, any one of those three, the game-sealing interceptions, the pressures, the monster performances on the D-line that game. I mean, the reason why I say Reed Blankenship is throughout 3 games. I know it's throughout 3 games, but he's done it consistently. Throughout 3 consistent games, 60 minutes of professional football, 15 minutes a quarter, 15 times 4 is 60. That's an hour. An hour of on-field action. And I know they don't play 100% of that, or however the case, but with interceptions you can make the defense longer, or whatever, or shorter, make the offense longer, etc. You know what I'm trying to say. But at the end of the day, he's the second best rated safety according to PFF. PFF isn't law, but I mean most of the time it's pretty fairly accurate. Based on their performance, what they did do, attendance, things of that nature. It's pretty fairly based. So yeah, I mean, and then obviously Jalen Carter, he had that pressure, bringing the energy post game, obviously, which is really important. Jordan Davis, he was finally helping out Jalen Carter, which I think is again really important. Offensive coaching, I'll give it a C to a D minus. I mean, there were a lot of wasted drives. I mean, we have no problem getting to the red zone. It's scoring in the red zone that's the problem. I mean, that's what I've noticed throughout 3 games. 3 hours of action. And then defense, A++++. You can't ask for a better coached game. And then situationally, I'll say either a D+ or a super low C. But between there, because obviously at least they attempted 1 field goal. At least they attempted 1. So for that, I mean, that's better than taking none. So. Next thing I'd like to touch on, Fangio, he said a lot of interesting things in his press conference. He said that he thinks BG's play is sustainable, that he knew ever since training camp and things of that nature, that hey, he still has a lot left in the tank, we could actually use him, we actually need him. He said that his plan for Huff is the same, and just mix him in with the other guys. For $17 million, you don't want to come on, a mix-in guy for a $17 million mix-in? Come on, he's supposed to be a bona fide starter for $17 million. So yeah, Howie definitely got fleeced by Huff, definitely. Keely Ringo, he got subbed for Slade because he was more ready. It seemed like a strategic thing based on what he was saying. He said that if there was more game time, then they would have put in Isaiah Rodgers. Me personally, I don't think it was that bad of a decision. I do know that Isaiah Rodgers, he has had that hand injury, broken hand. or some broken bone in his hand, but he said that he had talks with C.J. Gardner-Johnson about avoiding penalties and things of that nature, but he doesn't really seem to like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. If you guys watch it or however the case, he doesn't really seem like he's the biggest fan, like when talking about him. Like with Bonnie's, he's smiling and all that, but when he was talking about CJ, he just kind of had an attitude about him, but he knew he was the best safety we have, so obviously that's why he's starting him, regardless if he likes him or not. Better D-line, he said that better D-line play led to better tackling and helped, Jalen Carter play better, and I assume also Jalen Hurts play better. Obviously I agree, because no running back or however should just be getting open field like that. I mean, that's the D-line and linebacker's job. If they get into that open field or however and it becomes on the secondary, it's because of the D-line. Like I understand, a couple yards per carry or however, like 2 or 3 or whatever, but I mean, we were giving up the first 2, man. That's why I'm saying hopefully we can build up that momentum. He says that Reed Blankenship can catch, and he has a good feel for the ball, and good feel for the game and things of that nature. He also said that Jalen Carter was he gave more effort and whatnot, and that's what led to his monstrous performance. He likes Zach Bond, obviously. That's what he's been talking about pretty much the whole time. Kellen Moore, he said that the O-line was absolutely phenomenal, that Stoutland is involved in the run game, that Dotson did well on the mesh plays. He also said that he feels confident in Dotson, Campbell, and Johnny Wilson in the event of Devontae and Smitty being out. I don't buy it. Didn't really sound that confident, especially since AJ's already back to practice. Obviously, as an Eagles fan, I wish he's already in the game or however, but if he's not at 100, keep him out the game. If he's not at 100, win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter if we lose this game or however, we can come back, we can figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'd rather him be 100% and not linger all season. Jalen Hurts, he said that Jalen Hurts is doing better at staying in the pocket. I've heard, a lot of people say that. Me personally, rewatching the game and, remembering what I saw initially, even with the passion and the initial anger, I could even tell, like, dang, looks like he's staying in the pocket more. He said that there's a lot to sort out and things of that nature. Obviously there is, which is why they put AJ back in practice, I would assume. Michael Clay, he said that he takes responsibility for the blocked punt. He said DeJean is fundamentally sound, tracks the ball well. It sounds like he's the new punt returner, because he said that he's ready for the role and all that, and it sounds like they're like putting him in that position or however to succeed in that area. It looks like. So in my opinion, if 3 things can happen, if only 3 things can happen, it will be a blowout. And it's reasonable. It's not like, if we get the greatest person of all time, he doesn't take any trades, and it's perfectly reasonable. Here it is. If Sarah Fraud not do or call anything, it's more than possible. Is it likely? That's a completely different story. But is it possible? Yes. With all the injuries in offense, defense especially has to have a huge day. A couple interceptions, a couple more sacks. I'll get into why here in a second. The 5-man front, I don't care. Do it the whole game. Jalen, he has to have a really, really big game. No interceptions. 300-plus yards, like an MVP-type performance. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to make a video giving him his flowers. Heck yeah, he really has to turn it around. But if he keeps turning the ball over, I can't. Because I'm fair. If he has 300-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, you know what I'm saying? 3 throwing touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers. I'll make like a 10, 15-minute video, you know what I'm saying, illustrating everything and all that and giving them the respect. But interceptions are really, really hard to defend, even as much as I want to. They're hard, especially when there's so freaking many of them. This early in the season. Better judgments, more audibles, like instead of throwing it to double coverage, throw it to whoever's open. Obviously, you're showing, you're trying to stay in the pocket, you're showing. Try to go through your reads, you know what I'm saying? Just try. Hopefully Goddard has 2 receiving touchdowns, Saquon has 1, or if AJ plays, each of them get 1 receiving touchdown, and maybe, Saquon gets a rushing touchdown or however the case. If those 3 things can happen, Dallas Goddard, 10 catches, 170 yards, what do those yards mean? The 60-yard one, that meant something or however, but the other 100 and something yards, no touchdowns, just a couple first downs, if anything, but hopefully they can be more meaningful this time. And then A.J. Brown, hopefully, he can give us, 100 or 2, you know what I'm saying, something like that. If those, like I said, Sirifat has to go because he was getting mad or however out of Jalen Carter, however, for actually doing something on the field. But the guy that was costing him the game, he was basically trying to stop him. Like, I would not be surprised if Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis just winds up freaking socking Sirianni. I wouldn't be surprised. He's like, hey, man, you have all this freaking talent on offense, and you're freaking wasting it. You know, Jalen Hurts, he does not have to be Peyton Manning. He doesn't have to be Tom Brady because of how stacked the offense is. He could win being just a slightly above average quarterback. Not to say he is or isn't, whatever the case may be. I'm just saying. So, I mean, I think it goes to coaching. If you can get there once and you add more to the offense and you're struggling earlier, that's all. That's coaching. You're not taking 3 points. You're wasting drives. I'm sorry. That is on the head coach. If he's the one making situational game calls, that's straight up on the coach. But, yeah, like I said, definitely still has to go. Things of that nature. I really am trying to be positive, you know what I'm saying, that despite the injuries, you know, we don't know exactly who's going to play, you know what I'm saying, that there's still a couple days. I think today's only like Thursday or Friday, but we play on Sunday, so, you know, still a few days, you know, I hope for the best and all that, but I'm trying to be optimistic as best I can. But at the same time, as I said, I'll explain why I said the defense has to, you know, get more turnovers on the defensive side. Mayfield is a significantly better quarterback than Derek Carr. I think we can all agree on that. I'm not trying to defend anybody, or however, I still think Jalen can be a better quarterback than Mayfield. But I'm just saying, in terms of Mayfield versus Carr, Mayfield has more weapons than he does. You know what I'm saying? Alvin Kamara, we managed to shut him down. He was a non-factor. Pretty much. We only allowed like 90 rushing yards throughout the whole game. I mean, they went from scoring 45 to, what, single digits, I think, or barely 10, barely cracking double digits. So, if we can shut the Bucs down, you know, that's a huge step for the team on the defensive side of the ball. Todd Bowles is a defensive genius, and piggybacking off of that, Todd Bowles is a defensive genius. If Jalen Hurts can play significantly better than what he did last year, or just better, you know, if he can look significantly better, you know what I'm saying? Then that will prove his improvement. He'll get the respect he deserves. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I want to make a video giving him his flowers, things of that nature. Because I like Jalen Hurts. I have his jersey. You know what I'm saying? I have like a little T-shirt one or however that I got online or however, and then I got one that I got in person or however the case. You know, he's an entertaining player. He has skill. He is a good thrower. You know what I'm saying? He's not bad, but man, you know, coaching I believe is just strongly holding him back, in my personal opinion. You know, my only questions for the Bucs game, and I think they're all pretty reasonable. Can the defense do this again? That's fair. They did it. Heck yeah, they did. They deserve all the credit in the world for that. They shut down a pretty darn good team, 45 points a game. They shut them down, kept them to less than 20, I know for a fact. Can they do it again? Can Vic Fangio dial up a similar thing to slow the Saints down enough? Can Hurts step up and make Sirianni's bad plays look decent or okay? He was able to do it at times last year. We shall see. You know, like I said, you know, we need at least. I've seen a lot of Twitter things like, oh, do you think we can do it without AJ and Smitty? You know, like should we put them both? I was like, and then I like shared it, and I was like, I think we at least need one of them, and it looks like we're getting AJ back, so that's definitely good to see. Can Nick coach a good game situationally? He can redeem himself. If he redeems himself, coaches pretty good games, heck yeah, that's a good call to override it, you know what I'm saying, win, lose, draw, heck yeah, you know what I'm saying, then he can redeem himself. But as of right now, I mean, his stock is going like this and has been. He hasn't made one little ooh all season. So ever since last year, just going straight downhill. That's my personal opinion. With this win, you know what I'm saying, maybe we can have a balanced game, you know, since AJ's coming back. Goddard just had a good game, and again, Saquon and Dallas Goedert are on fire. So maybe if AJ can heat up towards the end and things of that nature, maybe, you know, it can be a dominant game. I'm not saying up 45 points or whatever, but I'm saying maybe we're up 2 touchdowns or something. Maybe just one game where we can relax, go into the bye week. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell the future, but I'm just trying to speak it into existence as best I can. So it went from Kellen Moore's offense completely. It went from, oh yeah, Kellen Moore's gonna be doing everything. He's just gonna Nick Sirianni's gonna manage it, and then now Nick Sirianni is calling plays time to time, overriding what Kellen Moore's trying to do. making him look bad. I mean, I just think he's the biggest problem. He's the biggest problem. If you have the players X and O's to figure it out, I mean, we have AJ, Devontae, they're on the roster. You know what I'm saying? It's still early in the season. I don't think they're going to be out the whole season. So that means that we have AJ, Devontae, Dallas, Saquon, Jalen, who's at least a slightly above average quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Top 5, top 3 O-line. If you have problems in the red zone, when you have that good of an O-line and that good of receivers, tight ends, things of that nature, that's on coaching. I'm sorry. That's on coaching. All the Sirianni apologists, this bull crap stuff. Yeah, because guess what? He had good coordinators with Shane Steichen and Gannon, who are now head coaches. Obviously, they went to crappy teams. You know what I'm saying? But let them be the head coach. 2 potential good head coaches, or however, went to talentless teams, which is why, it's not done anything since the Eagles. Well, I mean, they went to crappy teams. Same thing with Doug Peterson. Trevor Lawrence is a bust. He's trash. You can't blame a head coach for a bust quarterback. I mean, just saying, it's not how it works. Next thing I'd like to talk about is I really thought, and these are my final thoughts, by the way, kind of like final thoughts, final little analysis, in my opinion. It looked like Jalen Hurts was warming up in the second half. He played cleaner, made better decisions, stayed in the pocket more, like I was saying. He tried to do it the entire game, but I think it really ultimately paid off, and it looked like he was a better quarterback in the second half. That's just my opinion. Defense played amazing, 10 out of 10 versus a flaming hot Saints team. Fangio's 5-man front and coaching adjustments. Players stepping up miles. We just need to see consistency. I'm giving all the props. They stepped up miles. Vic Fangio, he coached a pretty darn good game. Just need to see consistency. That's it. Might be wrong about Jordan Davis. Have some apologies to hand out here in a second. Who we have might just work. Their O-line was injured. To be fair, I'm not blind to that. You know what I'm saying? And then their starting center got hurt in the middle of the game. So again, I'm not blind to that, or however. I do know that if they're not at full strength, who knows what else is going to happen if they were. Can't tell the future. I mean, so lots of different variables, things of that nature. So. Additionally, I really do think, feeding Saquon and Dallas Goedert, maybe using AJ as just like a pressure piece to take pressure off those guys. Saquon Barkley, he has 73 touches, that's first. 404 yards, that's second. 5 touchdowns, that's first. And then yards a carry, 5.6. I mean, in my opinion, he's looking to be at least top 3 in the league. Average everything out, because he's first in touches, he's first in touchdowns, and he's second in total yards. And not to mention, the right half of the O-line in the Saints game or however kind of got injured. So, let's not be blind to that. Dallas Goedert, 10 receptions, 170 yards, 239 yards. First in Eagles for being a tight end. He's the first tight end in Eagles history to ever record 170 yards in a game. First tight end to ever do that. Got to use them. Maybe Dotson and Wilson and things of that nature will be the underdogs that will have the big game that we don't see coming. Hopefully. Defensively, Jalen Carter, he's just a beast. Jordan Davis, he has 1 sack. Dak Bond, he's definitely top 10. He's top 3 in tackles. That's what you're supposed to do as a linebacker. He has 2 sacks. He's filling up the stat sheet. For 3 weeks, he's been playing consistently like a top 10 linebacker. I'm not going to say top 5. If he can keep this up, and it's week 12, week 13, he's still top 5, top 3 in tackles, top 5 linebacker. But as of now, if you don't have him as a top 10 linebacker, you're blind. I'm sorry. If he's top 3 out of about 60-something others who are starters, and he's top 3, and he has sacks, and you kind of know he's going to get picks, he's explosive, things of that nature, he's getting 4th and 1 stops, he's doing his part, how is he not top 10? There's only 1 or 2 guys ahead of him in tackles. He's averaging 10 to 12 tackles a game. That's what he's averaging. Obviously, his best was 15, and then he had a 14 tackle game. And then, so either way, the dude's an absolute beast. He's definitely top 10 for being he's a top 10 linebacker currently. I'm not going to say all the time there's Ray Lewis and all that, nowhere near. But how he's playing right now, currently, out of everyone in the league, active players, he's top 10. I don't care. Reed Blankenship, like I said, according to PFF, he's the second best safety, 2 interceptions, really high coverage grade. You know, basically those guys that I named above do exactly what they did versus the Saints versus the Bucks. Pretty much mimic your performance. I gotta see Cooper DeJean more. Like I said, he was returning punts and things of that nature, so that's definitely exciting to see. Huff has to step up. You know, he only had 18 snaps versus the Saints' battered O-line. You know, from the defense in general, consistency and effort. From Vic Fangio, just dial up good plays to where you have to blame the players. I mean, because if you're dialing up good plays, we know that the Vic Fangio scheme can work. To some small, it's weak, it's soft. I keep that same energy. I'm not running from that. I said that and I still mean it. It still is soft. But can it work? Yes, it can. You know, the players we have, they have the potential to fill those roles, you know, with promising results. Zach Bond, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, you know, based on what we've seen last game, if they could consistently keep that up. So yeah, I mean, that being said, I think that's going to do it for today's video. Like I said, I mean, hopefully next game we have AJ back. And, you know, he just doesn't really get that many targets or however to keep him safe, but just to be there, just to take pressure off of Dallas Goedert, Saquon, and Dotson, you know, just to be safe or however the case. So, yeah, hopefully, you know, we have the full team back or however, but I know for sure Devontae Smith has been listed as out, but yeah, hopefully, you know, the everyone who's questionable or limited or practice or however can come back or however versus the Buccaneers. So thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. God bless. Philly out. Peace. Little post-credit scene for you guys. So I went and looked at the stats throughout each of our 3 games, the Buccaneers and ours, things of that nature. So let's look at them. Points per game, we're 12th. They're 15th. They score 21.3 points per game. We score 23.3 points per game, even with Smitty being out and AJ being out 2 games, things of that nature. So in terms of yards per game, we get 411, which is second in the league. Theirs is 277, which is 26th in the league. 5.9 yards per play, which is 10th. And then they have 5.1, which is 21st. On fourth down, we're 14th in the red zone. We're 24th. I think it's like with like 2.7 or something like that. But we're number 6 in total touchdowns per game with 2.7. That's the exact number, however the case. And then in terms of defense, we allow only 30% success from the red zone, which is 4th in the entire league. On third down, 13th. Fourth down, we're top 11. We're 11th. Touchdowns per game, 2.0. That's top 11. So in terms of keeping touchdowns off the board, we're the 11th best team at that throughout 3 games. That's what 3 games tell us. Touchdowns allowed per game, which means keeping them off the board. You know, we're top 11. And then in terms of their defense, they allow 20.7 points per game, which is 15th. 371 yards per game, which is 28th. And then on third down, they're 15th in the league. And then on fourth down, they're 19th in terms of defending it. And then in terms of the red zone, they're 14th. Touchdowns allowed. Let me check, actually. Touchdowns allowed. Okay, so yeah, they're, yeah, so far we're both tied. Yeah, I just had to double check that or however, but yeah, us and the Bucks are tied for 2.0 touchdowns allowed per game. But considering the fact that, you know, Jalen Carter, he's definitely stepping up. Jordan Davis, he's stepped up. They want to build that momentum. And, you know, given the fact that their O-line, which has been playing putrid, even got another big hit, another injury. So, if you look at it statistically, again, you know, we're better at putting points up in terms of third and, in terms of third and fourth down defense. We're a few levels better than them. In terms of stopping touchdowns in general, we're about the same so far throughout, you know, 3 games and whatnot. Obviously, these will change. This is just my own private, you know, my own notes for my own thing, and things of that nature. But yeah, just more room to be optimistic about that game. And again, A.J. Brown is questionable, so definitely be excited for that as well. So I just try to give fans and Eagles fans in general as much opportunities to be optimistic while at the same time being realistic as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to do it. God bless. Philly out. Peace.